Hey everybody, BenJAMin here. I'm once again here with my friend Matt, and today we are here to talk about our thoughts on Metroid Prime 4. Now, we will get into some spoilers. This will be just kind of spoilery-ish throughout, but we'll get into some very specific spoilers for like Endgame stuff, and we will let you know when that happens. We'll probably mark it as a timestamp in the video. Just keep that in mind. But otherwise, glad that you're all watching. If you're just watching this from the car and just listening to it, probably an ideal situation because there's not going to be a lot of visuals for this. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing.
You're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing the do. All right. Before we get into like all the details, what are your general thoughts about the game before we even like get into like specifics?
So for reference, I beat it. I beat it probably a week ago, a little bit under a week ago.
Something like that.
Yeah. I did not get 100%. I got like 98% because I missed 3 scans somewhere in the game, which is par for the course for Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I don't think it stands out as much as Prime 1, or again, I love Prime 2. I hold that one as my favorite. I know that's not a common opinion, but I love Prime 1 and 2. Prime 3 I enjoy. It doesn't hit as super memorable, and I think Prime 4 lands closer to 3 than it does to 1 or 2. I played it and just kind of thought, that was really good, and I don't know how long that opinion will last or how long it'll be until I want to play it again.
Fair. Yeah. I am a little more positive than you overall. I mean, I know you're still positive on it. I think we both are. I really enjoyed it. My least favorite's actually Prime 2. But Prime 1 is definitely up there. It's always been between 1 and 3 for me, which I know is kind of a weird dynamic there because they are both Prime games, but one is very structurally different from the other. Yeah, I don't know where I would rank I don't know how I would rank Prime 4, but somewhere in that upper range of all the Prime games. Yeah, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I beat it about 3 weeks ago, so my thoughts on the game as a whole aren't quite as fresh. So, yeah, so that's why Matt is the one that came up with all the questions. So now we can probably dive in a little further to some of the talking points.
Going into this, because we had, I believe you said it's been 8.5 years since the announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So, like June 2017 Direct is when this got announced. Yeah. And when it got announced, it had a whole different logo than this. It had just like a test teaser logo.
It was like they took the Metroid Prime 3 font and then slid it over and then slapped a 4 on it. That's what that's all it was.
Right. We knew nothing other than that it was in development.
Yeah.
Which since the last Metroid Prime has not been like dead prior to this. The last numbered entry was 2008 or 2007.
2007.
Last numbered entry was 2007. But we had Prime Hunters before that, because Hunters is a 2006 game. But we had Federation Force after that, which, regardless of how you feel about it, it was a Metroid Prime title. And
all in name and nothing else.
Yeah. But it showed that there was like a progressing plot. Because Prime Hunters, you get introduced to Sylux. Prime 3, you get a little like bonus cutscene.
If you 100%
If you 100% the game where Sylux appears. And that's also true of Federation Force. You get a little bonus cutscene if you get 100% where Sylux appears.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's in the opening mission, which a lot of people had demoed. So he's been like, whether you, even though it hasn't been in like a game proper, he hasn't appeared outside of like an ending tease.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there since Hunters. So the reveal that he comes into this game and he has more of a stance, or he has more of a stake in it. And even in 2017, there was kind of the hint from the developers that's like Sylux is going to play a bigger role.
Right.
So it's like, oh my gosh, this is the culmination of like all these years and all this buildup. What are they going to do? So that's where the crazy hype comes in.
Right, yeah. My context of me coming to this game, it was announced in 2017. I didn't really become a Metroid fan though until 2021 when Dread was announced, and I had a Wii U. Still have the Wii U, and that was when I was like, when Dread was announced, I was like, okay, I have to go back. I need to play all the games, 2D and 3D. So I played like the um, like Zero Mission. The only game I had played previously was Super Metroid, which I like, but it also, I don't know, it's just a lot to take in, and it was like hard to like get the rhythm and understand how a Metroidvania works when that's your starting point. But then Zero Mission wasn't handholdy. It was just like it helped you kind of guide you along with like, here's how to.
Zero Mission gave you guideposts.
Yes.
Occasionally you would hit the Chozo statues that would go like, hey, go over here next.
Right. Well, and it's almost like it's kind of teaching you, hey, like, this is how it's supposed to work. Like, when you go to this place, sure, you get this item. Let's help you out a little bit on this first adventure of, like, where, like, helping you with where you should go to, like, progress things. Which I thought was super helpful as somebody that was just trying to learn Metroid and just how it worked. And so, yeah. And it's still one of my favorite Metroid games, just on a general sense. Super fast-paced and all that. And then I played the Prime games. I liked 1 and 3. I did not like 2. That's a discussion for another day. And then played Dread, already knowing the story leading up to it, all that kind of stuff. Basically, I got myself very familiar with the story overall, as well as just making it very clear. Prime 3, I 100% that one intentionally so that going into Prime 4, I'd be like, okay, I've seen the ending cutscene that shows Sylux's ship at the end of that game before taking off, and then fast forward to 2024 when they finally re-reveal Prime 4, and it's, dude, I was so hyped about that trailer. I know that people
I was unbelievably hyped.
People give the Prime 4 trailers a lot of flack, especially up until like the last month of before this game's release, because the trailers admittedly weren't very well edited, so it didn't make it look super exciting unless you were already a Prime fan.
Yeah.
And I was already a Prime fan, so I was just enamored with Sylux is here. They are going to continue that story. What is this black hole looking thing? All those kind of things that you could speculate about pretty much all day.
I think for reference, just for my Metroid history, I also kind of started with Super Metroid. I went to Metroid Fusion after that on 3DS, and then I got the Prime Trilogy, kind of like early in the 2010s. I ended up getting Prime Trilogy. I think 2010 or 2011 I picked it up and played the Prime games. Then kind of went back and played the proper entries. Played Samus Returns when that came out. Played AM2R, which is incredible, and more or less the same story. Played got really excited for Dread when that came out. So my Metroid history goes back a little bit further, but not a ton further. And I was also extremely hyped for Prime 4. It was kind of in the position where like that was my Silk song, I think we'll say, because it's just
that's a good way to describe it.
We're just waiting for news.
That was, I think that was both of us at a point.
It's just like, what if you get news on Silksong or you get news on Prime 4? It's like,
right.
Like then it's a miracle has happened.
For sure. I kind of echo that. No slander against Silksong. It's just different fan bases, man. Why don't we talk a little bit about our first impressions of the game through like the first area or two? Like, obviously, there's the big bombastic opening of the game that's similar to Prime 3, but a lot shorter, right? It's
shorter, and Prime 3 doesn't begin immediately in the action. Because you drop in and you drop into the Norian station and everything's pretty fine. People welcome you. You go around because you're there for like a meeting.
Yes.
Like the opening of that game is you go into an elevator, you meet the other bounty hunters, you go to the Aurora unit, and you kind of get told, here's what's happening with the Leviathans, here's like the plot, and then the action kicks off.
That's true.
And then the pirates attack.
Just to show you how fuzzy my memory of that beginning of that game is.
Prime 4, you just
Yeah, they're already under attack, so you're just the
Yeah.
Federation's already under attack, so you're just flying right into the action.
I think within like the first second of gameplay, like something crashes into the planet, like a giant laser beam attack or a missile hits.
I think you're
Like
thinking of that.
right when you gain control.
Oh yes, when she lands and it does like the music, and then you go right into the suit, and then just kapow! It's like whoa, okay, and then they're like, whoa, we're in this thing.
It's
all right.
a giant action set piece.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun. I liked it. I was like, I'm locked in from the beginning.
Like aside from the Federation troopers being there, it reminded me a lot of Prime 1's opening. Because you basically show up somewhere that's in the process of either being attacked or collapsing.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about the frigate Orpheon or you're talking about the Tanamar station.
Yes, that's the
name of the planet.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. So,
anyways,
it's like regardless, you get this big heavy action opening, and that ends also like Prime 1 with a boss fight. So,
right, yeah, and it's very similar there in that regard.
I thought that opening was great. Like again, kind of regardless of how you feel about the Federation, because their presence here is really big.
Relatively speaking, yes.
Relatively speaking, like you're not working with anybody at this point, but there's just like it's not you versus the pirates, it's you and this other giant army versus the pirates.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so you got that big, gigantic opening. Sylux is teased right then and there, and then they get blasted off this planet. Also, this is the only Prime game I've actually 100% scanned everything. Like, I have never been able to do that successfully in the past 3 games. Usually because I always missed something. But this time, I think because it was brand new, I was like, I'm going to take my time with this.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to really try to 100% this first go. And then any replay, that way the work is done. Any replays after that is just me just kind of.
For fun.
Yeah, for fun, playing on a hard mode, all that stuff, like unlock the stuff in the gallery. Yeah, so I was scanning a lot, and I thought it was interesting. Once you get to the planet, you then are like, you can scan stuff, but it doesn't tell you anything. It's like, I can't read this.
I thought that was interesting too. It's like, because in other Prime games, the planets you go to are at least like known quantities
to some capacity.
So it's like, oh, you can at least figure out like what this probably is.
Yeah.
And when you first get to Vuros, it's like, what?
This is like, some galaxies away, like on like the other side of the universe, kind of weird pocket dimension planet thing, and it's
like you. Yeah, so you are able to scan just about everything, but everything you scan is just like, you don't know what this is.
Right. Yeah, and so but then you get the little thing, and you start getting the psychic abilities, and that I thought was well implemented. I know we're walking through the game as it's going.
While we're talking about first impressions, I do want to say there's a really stark difference between like the opening of the game when the thing gets activated and then when you wake up in the tower. It's so different. It's like uncomfortably different.
Well, I think every Prime game is like that. It has this opening that's very different from once you finally get in every Prime game. The first game has that thing where you're on the ship, and sure, it's eerie and all that, but then the countdown thing happens, and then you're trying to get out of there and all that. Then in the second game, it's this like survival horror kind of thing before you get to the first area.
It's like,
and then Prime 3, it is that hour-long Galactic Federation
the attack
thing.
At Dorian,
Yeah.
But like because like the way it's done in 4, it kind of makes me want to consider the opening part at Chrono Tower part of the opening and not the game proper. I don't think the game properly starts until you get into Fury Green.
Which is very short. You're not in that tower for very long. You get shot over there after you get the lore dump, and then general lore dump of like, hey, you're on this planet, here's the species. Very reminiscent of Prime 2. We did talk about that.
Yeah.
And so then you jump into Fury Green, I guess this is where we can now kind of open up about just general thoughts about the gameplay and everything, the loop and all that kind of stuff.
I think as far as the like movement and the gunplay and the actual control of it, I think that's great. I don't know if I have really any major complaints with the way the game feels or the way the game handles.
Sure.
Because I played it, I think you and I both played it on a Pro Controller. Yes. I did dabble with the mouse mode a little bit.
I did not use it
Okay,
once.
I played with the mouse mode, I think, for about 30 minutes at one point. And because I had a setup that could work. It wasn't comfortable because I just had basically my computer desk next to the TV.
Right.
So I was like, I'll just do it over here. And it works. It's really responsive. Like I didn't feel like there was any latency or like any lag. I felt like it really does move really well. It's a really nice showcase of the mouse. Mm-hmm. But I think whether you play it like that, definitely am not a fan of the claw grip that you have to keep on the Joy-Con too.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty much the reason I never tried it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it for longer than 30 minutes, is that just gets uncomfortable to keep holding.
What are your thoughts on the psychic abilities and how they're implemented into the game? Uh-oh. I hit a spot, didn't I?
No, this isn't like this isn't a negative. This is kind of just like an in-between.
Okay, this is an in-betweener, all right.
Yeah, because it reminds me a lot. I don't know if this is a game you've played. There's a game, I think on Xbox One, called Quantum Break.
Yep.
And it's from Remedy Studios, so it's the same team as Control.
Oh,
it's Control,
okay.
Alan Wake. It's the game they made between those.
I have Control in my backlog. I just haven't started it yet.
It's good. But in that game's whole theme is time. So time moving backward, time moving too fast, time travel. It's all in that game. And the way they explain away your character getting powers and using them to fight all these people off is they're all time abilities. But so it's like, oh, you can make time slow down in front of you, and that acts as a shield. Or you can stop your bullets when you fire them and stack them. So it's like you can send 7 bullets at somebody at once. But the reality of that is it's like, okay, this is a strong shot. This is a shield. This is a dash. But it names it all like the time dash, the time shield, the time shot. And you can see where I'm going.
Oh. Now I see. We call it the psychic, and then insert whatever.
These are all the abilities as you know them.
Yes, it's the same thing. Just label it as
the psychic space jump is the space jump. The psychic bomb is the bomb.
The psychic visor is just the scan visor.
Yeah.
There's nothing really different other than you can now read and activate things within the planet that fit within that technology.
Yeah, except when you use the visor this time, it's Samus's fingers go up here.
Whoa.
Instead of on her arm cannon.
She's like Professor X.
And trust me, when I went to the mouse mode, I tried to see if you could do this with the mouse to see if it does the scan visor, and it doesn't.
Missed opportunity. Nintendo.
Don't try that.
0 out of 10, Nintendo. Missed opportunity. How dare you? Yeah, no.
I think that whole diatribe aside, I think the psychic abilities are fine. But they don't I think you could have not called them psychic abilities and we'd be looking at the same things.
Yeah, they don't necessarily innovate necessarily. They do fit really well into the mold of just the Prime game structure. Yeah. I think the only real weapon that I can think of that's this was actually something cool and new was the control beam.
Yeah.
The control beam was the one thing that was kind of cool, and also the weapon that I definitely forgot a couple of times.
I actually did use the control beam a few times because I don't know if this happens obviously, but I think that can stagger enemies.
Yes.
So especially
you can take out multiple enemies.
Well, especially in Volt Forge when you're dealing with the first time you go there, when you're dealing with all the robots that hit trucks. Yes. Control visor can stun or can knock all of them to the floor if you get it off, and that kind of helps keep that helps keep that fight from getting too out of control.
Sure. Right. I'm with you on that. I think for me, I like the psychic abilities and the way they're implemented and all that stuff. It is kind of generic where it's like other than a control beam, it's really just a superfluous thing that makes the old stuff sound cool. But actually I think that's what my ultimate issue is that with the controls of Samus in Prime 4, it doesn't really evolve the moveset at all from the first 3 games.
It doesn't. The moveset is very refined, but it's not different.
Yes, like, I think a key piece of this is I was really hoping for something in Samus's moveset that was kind of like the counterattack in Samus Returns and Dread.
The physical hit.
The physical hit, yeah, right. The thing where, like, you can see, oh, here comes an attack, and then you can hit a button or something, and she'll lash, and then maybe not like Doomslayer, it'd be very similar to that if you could do things like that, the counterattack. But still, I think something like that helps streamline the gameplay a little bit further would have helped a lot. Because one thing I did notice as a criticism online, mostly coming from people who, I don't know if they played previous Prime games or not. I can't really judge, but it does. From what it sounded like, it was just like, man, the controls do feel dated. Like, it feels like we're playing a game that's from the 2000s that still hasn't evolved to be something that fits into more modern day standards.
I think in terms of the Prime control scheme, like whether you're talking about this one or you're talking about like Prime 1 Remastered, which both use the dual stick controls, it feels great. I think it's the best version of this control scheme, but it's not different.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, if you want the best way to feel like you're playing Prime 1,
you can actually like optimize the game in multiple ways where you can feel like you're playing it as Prime 1, Prime 2, or you can make it like Prime 3, or just do what Prime Remaster did where you had the dual stick controls, which honestly, I did dual stick. I didn't really mess with motion controls unless it was like locking on an enemy. I did turn on an ability where you could motion it when locked on.
And I tried them, but part of the mouse controls is you can change it to be motion controls. Just pick it up and it's motion.
Right.
And then you put it down and it's the mouse. Which again, works great. You gotta trade your hand for it, but it works great.
Can totally hear the snapping of the fingers there.
You can on my hand, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Carpal tunnel is coming in. But let's talk about the individual areas, which will help us kind of get into the Federation troopers as well. We won't get there just yet, but let's first just talk about like the different areas.
Yeah. Fury Green is good.
Fury Green was immersive as heck, man.
It's a really good opening area.
It was,
as far as like making you feel in the world, the backgrounds, all the little details, it all works.
It was by far the best. Well, not by far in the game. I think every individual area graphically does look very good.
It does.
Only Soul Valley is the one that can be a little iffy, but also is a desert. Again, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Fury Green is the one that has the most detail inherently because it is a jungle. It's a jungle forest area. Yeah. And it feels the most like, well, we'll get to Vault Forge. I think, well, I'm trying to think. I feel like that and Vault Forge are like the most like Prime 1 as far as just that like immersion and awe and like, whoa, like where, like look at this place that we're at kind of thing. It just, obviously you have Fury Green that feels like a mesh between the Talon 4 overworld and Phendrana Drifts from the first game.
You hear that in the music.
You hear it in the music, and then you feel it in the world with Talon 4, the overworld part. That's kind of how the message, but the music of Phendrana Drifts. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it feels like, and it's really, really cool. But also, you do come across your first NPC of the game, like the one that doesn't stick with you the whole game, but like is introduced and is kind of like somewhere back there that'll reach out to you every once in a while.
If at any point prior to this while playing the game, you had thoughts of, man, I really don't know where to go. I wish there was somebody who could help me out.
Don't worry, Miles Mackenzie is here to save the day.
Don't worry, he's here.
Don't worry.
And he'll never leave you.
We won't do that. That's definitely exaggerated online of like he's never leaving you.
Well,
but what are your thoughts on first encountering Miles Mackenzie and specifically his presence in the game as a whole, because he is the one you meet first and thus is the one that you do technically interact with the most, but yeah.
This is I know when the demo came out, a lot of people hated him immediately.
Yes.
And part of that is him. Part of that, I think, then is people don't expect other people in a Metroid game. Like, Metroid's all about the isolation. It's all about Samus being a badass.
It's a lot about that, yes.
Yeah. It's a lot of, like, just taking in the world, kind of getting lost, having to find your way around. And so the introduction of this guy who's immediately spouting, like B-tier Marvel movie dialogue.
Dude, it's like C or D tier.
We're not B.
The line is pretty cheesy. The lines are pretty bad.
Yeah. But so, like, the introduction to this guy is an immediate, like, oh, come on, don't tell me we're doing this. But, to Miles' credit, I don't hate him as a character. I hate him for his implementation.
Yeah. I actually, I get what you're saying. I didn't not like him. So I get the dialogue thing. I actually have dialogue issues more with characters that you encounter with later in the game. But for Miles Mackenzie specifically, he felt like you meet him, and I know that the line that he says initially seems super cheesy.
D-tier Marvel movie.
Yeah. Hold on. Sorry. I don't know what's going on out there. Stop talking! Yeah. Where was I? Miles Mackenzie.
You're saying even though the dialogue with him...
The dialogue wasn't great, but I actually don't think it was that bad. Because here's the other thing. The way Samus has always been portrayed in the Prime games is that she doesn't say anything. And so the whole idea is you're supposed to be Samus and put your helmet in, like put your head into Samus.
Put your helmet into her helmet.
Put your head in her helmet and like just like try to be like her. And when I encounter Miles, it was like I was kind of having similar reactions that Mackenzie then echoed. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like I'm actually like kind of feel like I can banter off of him like in a weird like parasocial kind of way because he's not actually real. But then like he'll talk to you and be like, you know what, you're not that bad. I'll like let you stick around. I don't know. He didn't like bother me that much initially. There were a couple things where people said that he says stuff that just straight up breaks the immersion because of stuff like, hey Samus, did you remember to save your game? Samus, did you scan that thing? I actually didn't have that happen at all.
Yeah, I have a point about that.
Yeah,
because I don't think that comes up.
It doesn't
as
come up
much in it. It's like I don't think that comes up as much your first run through Fury Green with him.
I don't think it comes up with Miles. I think that comes up later.
I did have it come up with Miles a couple of times, especially. It's mostly when you bring him the chips, and he'll tell you like, because I remember I think I screenshotted this on mine. When you give him the fire chip and he's augmenting it for your arm cannon, he'll like, at first he's talking about it like, oh, this is Lamorne technology that does this stuff. And he's talking about it very scientific, about like temperature and some, using sciencey words like temperature.
Yeah.
But when he finishes it and it's like, and the message comes up like you acquired the fire shot. Miles' next line is something like, you can now use the fire shot. And I was like,
Thanks.
I
knew that. Yeah, I think I figured that one out on my own, buddy.
But
yeah, he does say a few things like that.
And then it's kind of like, I bet this could melt ice. And I'm like, I know.
You think? No, I never. That's impossible.
But
I've never seen that happen before.
But all that to say, when you're escorting him from when you find him to what becomes base camp, like I honestly think that section is not that bad.
No, not at all. I thought it was fine, actually.
It's fine. The gameplay is fine. I think the section... Sorry, I keep talking.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
The section on the bridge, I think, is appropriately tense for where you are in the game.
People got really upset about that section. I'm like, this is fine, guys. Like, I was going to shoot all the guys anyways. You know what I mean? Like, Miles being there versus not being there wasn't going to change how I felt about that section.
I think... Yeah, it's like... I honestly think that initial section with Miles is not that bad. But it is foreshadowing for how he is later in the game. In terms of he does get as annoying as you fear him to be.
So you say.
So I say.
Yeah.
I think right when you find him, he's not that bad. There's a section in Volt Forge right when you get there that like where he will over-explain what you're looking for and where you're supposed to go. Do you remember this?
Not real. Here's the deal. Actually, right there,
where he's talking about like you need to find the source of the power so you can turn it on, and he opens your map automatically, goes down to it.
Oh, I do kind of remember that.
And then goes back up and is like, I bet you can use that door. And the camera pans to the door again after doing that when you open it like 20 seconds prior.
Well, I think what they were trying to do, the reason it didn't come to mind and it when you were trying to explain it was because I didn't even think about it when it was happening, because I think what he was trying to do there was he was trying to explain the map and how it works. Now, granted, you get the map in like Fury Green beforehand and you're already trying to figure it out on your own, so when he explains some of that stuff, it is a little superfluous. But I felt like in that instance, it was like, one, it was a new area, but the other thing was Fury Green is very flat as far as its map layout is. Vault Forge is the first one where it's like vertically, like very deep, and whenever it does that, it does make it pretty hard to read the map at times. So I think he was trying to help you explain, like, here's how you can read this thing. Like, here's how this is kind of supposed to work. That's what I interpreted it as, and thus it really didn't bother me that much at all, personally.
All right,
I can just say it. I'm wrong.
I can see that point, but it did annoy me. Just like, especially because it's like now that even though this impression is pretty wrong, I'll say like it gives the impression that that's gonna keep happening.
Oh,
of like, when you get to new areas, he's going to check in with you and try and help you where to go, which isn't true. That doesn't happen after that point.
No. Again, I still felt like we were in the tutorial thing. I'm like, well, we haven't gotten the bike yet. The bike's the big thing. Once we get the bike, I think he'll like kind of die down, and he kind of does.
He does. He kind of does. Yeah. You're given the option to call for his assistance, which doesn't work most of the time.
Well, specifically when you're inside each of the 5 areas of the game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of...
Which is where you're going to be most of the time, because we'll get to Soul Valley. We can give a little primer of like a little bit to the rest of the areas.
I would rather talk a little bit about more of like the other areas first, because then Soul Valley then brings up the biggest issue, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
I more just want to talk just about the areas themselves, maybe which ones we like the most versus the ones we thought were a little lesser, because I definitely feel like I have a ranking in my head.
I think I have a ranking in my head too.
Yeah. Why don't we go back and forth and just say, or I guess we can go one at a time. But short notes basically with each one.
Yeah. I have 3 that I really liked and 2 that I thought were fine.
Okay. What are the 3 that you liked?
The 3 I really liked were Ice Belt, Magma Pool, and the Mines.
Okay. So you thought that the opening stuff was just okay.
I thought the opening stuff was good. I didn't like love it. I wasn't excited to go back to Fury Green, but I liked it. I didn't think it was bad.
Well, going back to Fury Green, I don't think it's bad that like you have to keep going back to Fury Green. That's more of a design flaw with the game.
Yeah. It's like the actual
when you're going through it
area-
the first time, I think is what I mean.
Okay, going through it the first time, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, Ice Belt is the highlight.
Yeah. So
That is the best part of the game.
and why do you say that?
It reminds me a lot. If I can compare it to something in Prime 1, it reminds me a lot of the pirate station that's in Phendrana.
Okay.
Where you're going through, you're reading all of their logs, you're figuring out their experiments.
Yes. Yeah.
That's Station Hydra is the name of it, and it's
That's right.
Then it ends with the fight against the big rock guy.
Right. Well, but
it's but you're going through this whole station, and in Prime 1, you don't do that for the purpose of getting to the end and getting an item necessarily. It's kind of just the next area you have to go through.
Yeah.
But Ice Belt took that and made it kind of the whole thing, where now investigation is part of it. You need these keys to progress past these fields. So you actually do have to go around and scan things and learn about what was happening here.
Right, and it splits off a couple times. You have to go in different rooms and all that. I'm with you. So for me, my top two, it's between Vault Forge and Ice Belt.
Okay.
Fury Green's in the middle. Is the middle
Fury
ground,
Green's
perfect kind of realm of everything. It's kind of annoying that you have to keep going back to it and you're not necessarily exploring new things in there outside of a couple of additional pickups in there. But I still found that to be good. That's a good middle. But you got to Vault Forge. Vault Forge to me was awesome because you're in this place. It's just super all electric, like this factory thing, and you're trying to go down to basically power on everything.
Yeah. Did you like the part where you have to get your driver's license?
Well, I thought it was fine to get that, just to learn how to.
I thought that
do
was fine too. I think that's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny that it's you have to get your license because it's who in the world is literally on that planet? That's basically everybody. All the the main people are.
But it is a good tutorial for the Viola.
It's a good tutorial for the Viola. Kind of gives you just the ability to kind of figure it out, but you're also building it. That's the whole thing in that is you're trying to build it and you're going down these different trenches and coming back up. The different enemies that you fight along the way in there I think is really good. They're all tech based. That one puzzle where you're going back up the thing and they're making the viola
you have to put the ball in.
You have to turn into a morph ball and actually go up to the one that was genius. That was an awesome puzzle that I did sit at for a moment being what should I do? And then that one didn't pick me up and then the wheel was
we also have to look for the one that the morph ball looks the most like. You can't just take any one.
Oh yeah, no, it had to be that one. That was awesome. That was such a cool puzzle.
I agree with you for Vault Forge for the first trip.
Okay.
It does make you go back twice more.
Yes, and the backtracking there's kind of lame.
Those feel way less important and way less fun to do.
Yeah, I agree with you because it's both times you have to go back, the thing you have to collect is at the bottom floor of two different towers.
Yeah.
And so you have to go, you have to literally retread steps all the way down. Now, they did do this where they added that, in some of these, most of these areas where it's most of these areas are linear. So that's one kind of criticism I think a lot of people have with it is there's not this interconnectedness with the worlds, which again, we'll get there when we talk about Soul Valley. But that one in particular felt like it suffered the most from that because it was okay, well, I guess I just shoot myself up, but I still have to go to the same entry point to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So that was a little odd. But again, that first time was great. But the Ice Belt, bro.
Yeah.
Ice Belt was so cool because everything is dark. So it's kind of the opposite of that mission in Phendrana Drifts where you're trying to
where it becomes dark.
Yes, it becomes the power goes out on your way back, and then you have to use the visor. The thermal visor to be able to see all the dudes. But this one, it's everything is dark. you're thinking around every corner something's gonna jump out and it doesn't.
It never does.
And, but it's like, but still, there's some things that move, like inside the little stalls and all that kind of stuff.
There's one part that this happens. This messed with me because I don't know, because I think because it goes unexplained. There's a part in it that's awesome because it's like it's eerie and creepy and unexplained. Is in one of the rooms where you have to get one of the codes for the door. There's 6 pods with grievers in them that you can see and scan like each one individually.
Yeah.
And there's one of them where the screen is cracked. And it's like, oh, a missile will blow this open. And so I thought immediately, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one that comes to life.
That's going to like jump scare you.
Yeah, this is going to be the jump scare one. And it's not. You blow this open and it doesn't jump scare you. But if you get close to it, just this sound starts playing. It's this creepy, like, wailing. And the game doesn't explain what that is. It's just, like that.
Right. Well, it kind of does. So what's also interesting is as you're going down the ice belt and through the laboratories and stuff, if you're doing it right, you're finding the little scans to like read the lore of like what is this experiment, this great tragedy that they had and all this stuff, and you finally get to the bottom and you get to the fans at the bottom that like you're supposed to turn back on, and that would generate the turbines that would generate the power and everything like that. You finally trigger everything, the lights come on. But then also, as you're leaving the area, you scan this thing, and it shows you
the video
of like, oh, so it was these dudes getting transformed, and they were trying to fix the issue, basically.
Well, I think it's also like you really don't get much. Like you get a lot of lore about the Lamorne, and you get cutscenes with the main guy. There's like the hologram of the guy.
Yes, right.
You get cutscenes with Chatoya just around.
That's his name.
That is his name. I wrote it down. But you get those, but you don't really get anything with any other Lamorne, and you don't get any of them while they're alive. Like, you kind of just get holograms, except there.
Yeah.
That video is the only time where you see like a video of still living Lamorne doing something. And because that's the only time, it stands out so much more.
For sure.
As like genuinely terrifying.
Yes. Yeah. But I just thought it was cool, like we're suddenly now all the enemies starting to bust out of the chains bust out of the things, and then you're trying to like climb your way back up. And get out of there, and then you have to save the guy,
the
sniper guy,
who saves you.
He does save you. That was kind of interesting. I thought the delivery. He was the only guy where his delivery of the lines I thought was kind of ugh.
It's a little weird.
But he had the best lines, which was ironic. Like it was because it was the most interesting as far as backstory.
This is the guy you want to keep talking to over everybody else.
For the most part, because he has the most. He's like the experienced guy that has like the most to say, basically. Or no, he's quiet. You can tell he's quiet, but when you're one on one with him, he's like, like, here's my deal.
Because
here's what's going on.
Parts with him later where you just meet him in Soul Valley. He's just around.
Yeah.
And you have to do that at least once. You can do it more than once. But every time you meet with him, he's just like, let's just have a chat by the fire. And he's great.
Which was really funny, as I never ran into him out there until
you had to.
Yes, because I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for that. I didn't know I was supposed to be listening for the harmonica thing.
Yeah. There's the harmonica, and there's like a little plume of smoke that you can see.
I think we were in deep agreement on Ice Belt.
Ice Belt is great.
But then we have it. Honestly, it sounds like we have a disagreement on how we feel about the last two areas.
The flare pool and the mines.
Yeah.
Let's do flare pool first.
Yeah.
I liked flare pool.
And right, yeah. What'd you like about Flare Pool?
Flare Pool, I think, has number one. I think it has the best gameplay section with a Federation trooper.
Okay.
I think because Duke is the sergeant, he's more upfront, the army guy. He's more like
trying to like solve the problem. Like
he's trying to solve the problem, and when you go into a room and you're immediately confronted with enemies, he's the only one that's like, "Let's go!" Like eager to go into the fight with you.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, his and I see that consensus online too, that people like generally like him
the most. Okay.
People generally like. I mean, I've heard people say like, I watched one video where somebody was like, when they found him, it's like, oh, here he is, the only tolerable one. which I wouldn't go that far, but I do think he's one of the better ones.
Yeah. The sniper guy I thought was pretty tolerable.
Sniper guy's cool.
Well.
I like
the only reason he's
like
not is because his delivery of his lines when you first meet him is kind of blech. But like, but then after that he's okay.
It's a touch screen.
Yeah.
But then you get you get Armstrong. You get the second person, and don't like her as much. Her like fangirling of Samus gets a little grating.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people like Sarge. Here's Flare Pool is my least favorite of the areas, I think, overall. I'll say this, I do like that was the area with the escape sequence, and I think that did have the coolest boss fight of all of the fights in the game.
The end of Flare Pool.
The end of Flare Pool's boss is pretty spectacular when you're finally in the place. What I don't love that much about Flare Pool, and why I think it's kind of the least of all of them, is you're having to. Well, first you're kind of you start fighting the same enemies again. I think this is when it's the repetitiveness of the enemies start to become a problem.
That's also true.
And so that's like the first thing I notice about that area. There's definitely a difficulty, not a spike, but I mean, you feel the difficulty kind of ramp up a little bit.
Yeah. They really like to use those robots.
Yeah. They should have come up with more of them.
Yeah.
Or more highly evolved versions of them. I mean, they definitely have a few, but I think they kind of blew their load all in Vault Forge, where you face most of them. Yeah. And then maybe they introduced one other one, plus like the Sylux clone in the other place. But yeah, so that was kind of frustrating. The other thing, and actually my problem with Sarge, again, he's great, and I totally understand the personality of him. But when you're working together with him, he does kind of grind my gears a little bit. For example, I was trying to like explore and like find all this things, scan all the stuff, and I would walk a little bit too far away. He was the only one that did this. He would go, "I don't think this is the way," and I'm like, "Stop talking!" Like I'm looking around to like just scan stuff and maybe find a power up, and then you get close to the door. That's like you already know you're supposed to go. It's like, this is the way. That drove me crazy. I was okay, this was the like. That for some reason that was when I felt a line was crossed, because at that point I had already been exploring things on my own without much guidance from any of the Federation. Even with Miles in the tutorial area, when he did speak up, I was like, well, this is like if this is somebody's first Prime game, I totally get this being here.
You can kind of explain it away as that's the tutorial.
But when it's happening, like you are past the halfway point of the game when you're in Flare Pool, and basically, like Flare Pool is kind of the halfway point of the game.
Yeah.
And I just think it's silly that he's the one that keeps like nudging you and like being like, whoa, like go this way and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, stop talking. Like I get it. You're trying to like be the let's go guy, and it's fun when you're encountering enemies. But like when you're just trying to like explore stuff and look around a little bit, it's like, dude, I am a way higher rank than you are.
I don't remember that happening to me as much.
Yeah, I think we're having opposite.
I get that.
Issues with like this and Mackenzie. Yeah. I just feel like this is like I'm for some reason reversed on that whole thing.
And then, we've talked about bosses amazing. Escape
well, hang on, and that Armstrong I thought was interesting because she's kind of the fangirl,
right?
But it brought a sense of.
Also, I'm gonna look up her first name because I don't remember.
It brought up a sense of realism, I thought, to her character, and like. obviously I know it's like, oh, they're just inserting the like this is like filling out the quota, blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. I thought that it was kind of neat to like know that in universe Samus is kind of this superhero basically that other people are also a big fan of and all this stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know. I thought she was good. Sarge was the one just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a few too many times because it was like, okay, like let's just keep going. And also, it's like you had to have him with you to scan to open the doors and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's kind of odd. That's a very very
first name.
Yeah, it's kind of a lame addition. What was her first name?
Nora
Armstrong.
That I did not remember that.
We were talking. Sorry, we were going towards the boss fight of the area. I wish there were more enemies like that were in the game, like in that area. And the escape sequence I thought was good. Some people got upset that like Samus is not responsive when she's trying to like get through everything, and I'm like, she was already not responsive for the whole game at that point. Now there's some weird awkward silences where you get like a silence and everything, and I will say this. I'll say this now. Samus should have definitely talked a little bit more.
I did want to bring this up at some point, talking about the Federation people, because again, I kind of go back to Prime 3 for this. Because that's the other game where you see Samus kind of not routinely, but occasionally, like, interacting with people.
Yeah.
And I don't remember her not talking being nearly as awkward in Prime 3.
Right.
Because it's either understandable for the situation, because they're all at a mission briefing, so she's not going to interrupt for that, or her body language is given enough where like that talks for her.
Yeah.
Because you see this, you and I talked about this earlier, you see this when she's forced to kill one of her like fellow bounty hunters. You see her like react to that physically. And it's like, okay, you don't need to say anything for that because we see what she's saying.
Yes.
But when you have multiple people trying to have a back and forth conversation with her in a time where like she could and probably should be responding, either physically or vocally, and she just stands there like a wall.
Or nods. And that's
and that's all you get. Like,
yeah.
Like, this... I know normally she doesn't say a lot.
Just say something. like
say something, or let her be more expressive.
Yeah.
Or, like, or put them in situations where talking is either not viable, or it's like the escape sequence. Like, her not talking the escape sequence is understandable because we're trying to not die.
Yeah, it's like, please stop talking. I'm trying to concentrate. You know what I mean? Like, that was my mentality when they were like trying to be like, Samus, where are you? And I'm like, I'm getting there. Like, it's just like, no.
The prime opportunity, the Metroid Prime opportunity for her to talk would like, if you're gonna have her talk with anybody, is at the campfire with Takagi.
Or just with that guy specifically.
With that guy. Because I bring up those campfire scenes specifically because those go on to talk about how, like, they've both approached death the same way. And they're, like, they're similar in certain ways. Like, he talks about, like, his connection to his family, which Samus has. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to have her talk with anybody...
He's the guy.
He's the guy. And at the very least, like she doesn't have to talk with everybody, but give her like more body movement. Let her get a point across through what she's saying, and the most you get the entire game is
or like the normal motions of like, come, sit, Samus, and then she sits down. But then like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. I think if anything, that's what actually made the talking from the Federation awkward. Was not them. It was Samus not responding. Yeah. And again, earlier on, it's like I was kind of understanding that. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to like. I felt like oh no, I'm supposed to kind of have my own response in my head of how would I respond in this situation, and I kind of had that feeling when I was like talking to Mackenzie specifically. Talking to Mackenzie when he was talking to me, and I felt like I had some responses. Excuse me. Yikes, Denver. There's certain situations there where I just felt like there was that vibe, but then it got to where it was like Sarge and stuff. I'm like, That's Sarge was like where I was like was also a spot where I was like, okay, Samus, you need because he was asking me like direct questions of like, what do we do next, Samus? And the most that she would do is like, and then it's like, oh look, you found a map, and this is the place of like, it's like, what? Yeah. It's like that one shot in Toy Story 2 where in the cartoon where like that one little thing goes bah, and then Woody is like, oh, no way, and then like does this whole like monologue thing, and it's like and then it's like that's what's happening, bah, and it's like all right, cool, let's go. Yeah, that's what it kind of felt like at times. So that was a little awkward. But anyways. Yeah, for those reasons, I think Flare Pool is actually my least favorite of all the areas. It looked really cool when you first entered it, though. Yeah. And then as you got deeper into it, it kind of started to fade a little bit as far as its looks.
Did you mean when you first entered it for 5 minutes and then had to leave again?
We'll get there. Face on Minds. I almost said Face on Minds.
The Great Minds.
Great Minds is what I was going to mention here.
So, the Great Minds, I think, has...
This felt the most Prime 2 to me. I'm gonna be honest, which is actually not a bad thing, obviously, because I said that the last one was the worst one.
I think initially, the Great Minds does a lot right.
Okay.
You have the opening where like you have a couple people hanging back, basically. Like, it's like the Grievers are coming. We have to defend you, Samus and the 2 other people.
Yeah, and then at this point you also have the robot guy as well. So now he's with you.
So it's like initially, it kind of picks up where Flare Pool left off because it's the same 2 people. So like going through with you,
I thought was a little weird. I was like, okay, they're with us again. That time when they joined, I was like, oh no, not again.
Like, you two again?
Yeah, like, what? Like, there's not, like, a fifth... Or could this be, like... Could we not have had this, like, another Vault Forge where you're not finding anybody, you're just trying to, like, do this other thing? Yeah. I thought that's what the Great Minds was going to be, was another one where you're on your own.
It's like... I think I like what the Great Minds does mechanically with the sound and, like, you kind of... being geared away from using missiles.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. That was cool. That was because then the entire area became a puzzle. Yeah. Because there were moments where at that point in the game, you're used to using your missiles and intersplicing it with other stuff. So then suddenly for you to be like, I can't use this all of a sudden.
For that to be ripped from you.
You can, but you get punished for using it. Yeah. Like the more times you use it, more of the creepy dudes just start crawling out of the walls, which was freaky. I was like,
including the types of dudes that explode.
Yeah, that was... So those dudes like charging you fast, and you're like,
and it forces sections where you have to use your missiles. Because there's like barriers that you can only get through.
So it forced you to trigger it, and so what's your choice? Are you just going to stand and fight there, or are you just going to run for it? Because you can't choose to do one or the other.
And then like story-wise, they include sections where you have to use like mining equipment to get through, which creates noise. Yeah. So you have to have these like hold your ground moments.
Which those were interesting. I didn't like as much as the moments where you're defending the troopers. I mean, you are doing that when that's happening, but that was when it started to become a little bit more plentiful because throughout most of that area until the last floor. The last floor, you don't have anybody following you. I don't think
because
what
because people start falling off.
Yes,
as you go through Great
Minds.
People start dying.
They start doing this thing in that area where, like, Sarge is the first one to go down, and he's okay. By the way, we're now getting into like true spoiler territory. Yeah. I think everything like from Fury Green, the Vault Forge, the Ice Belt, Flare Pool, it's all stuff that was shown previously. And then I think
now we're getting to spoilers.
But we're getting to stuff with like the Great Minds. I don't remember being in the promotional material beforehand. Yeah. The Endgame stuff. That'll be what we end on. We'll finish with the Endgame stuff, but we first have to get to Soul Valley. But yeah. Anyways, you start losing characters like Sarge. And he goes down. It's like, uh-oh. Like, people can actually start dying here. And this was the other moment where I thought it was awkward that Samus wasn't having any verbal responses at all. Like, she didn't say anything to encourage Armstrong. Like, she's just there. Like not even like a nudge of like a look in her face or anything. She's just like, that's it. Well, let's keep going. And she had to figure it out in her own head, which just didn't feel natural.
This woman just lost her commander.
Yeah.
Like her rock in this location is gone.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say a single empty platitude to her face.
Yeah, like, just say, let's go.
Yeah.
He's gone. Let's go. Like, just something small. It doesn't have to be big.
Yeah.
And just keep going, man.
You could even, I'd argue, since we're getting into full Endgame spoilers.
Well, we'll get all the way there, I think, eventually. But what are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say something. You could have even had a moment where Armstrong is down on her knees, and Samus walks over to her and extends a hand.
Oh, that would have been really smart.
She takes it and pulls her up.
That would have made the Sylux thing way more impactful when they showed that. We'll get to the Sylux and everything in the end game, but foreshadowing, that actually is a great idea. That would have been good. Like, just we gotta keep going. Like, that's actually really smart. Yeah, and then Armstrong sacrificed herself, and that was kind of scary. But what broke it for me, before you even go back to the surface, was the robot guy comes. And you're like, how the heck did he get here? Like, it's just like, like there's no like multiple paths that you find later in the mines that makes it clear that you can get there,
Yeah. Well, and then it's like, okay, so...
And then he gets ripped apart.
Yeah. So you go down there with Duke and Armstrong, and it's like, okay, these are your people.
Yeah.
For this area. You then lose both of them.
Yes. So as you're going down, it's like, oh, maybe not. Okay.
So the implication is now like, okay, you're on your own from here on out.
Yeah.
And then View 995 shows up, just like, oh, hi. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah. But then he also makes like a heroic sacrifice.
Yep. And he does.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, is Takabi gonna show up? Is Miles gonna show up with his dinkly pistol? And be like, I got it, Sam.
I got Betsy working, and it's just going through. That would be really funny.
That would have actually been funny.
That would have been really funny. It was like, here you come, guy.
I think it kind of would have been funny if he and Takabi both show up, but Miles is like hiding behind him, like holding his pistol with like his hand like visibly shaking.
Character development, yeah, but you get to the bottom, and then you fight that boss there, that boss was freaky. That boss was tough. It was good, but it was tough.
It was hard. Yeah.
I thought the bosses were really well done. Maybe not quite as memorable as some of the other ones, but that was the one where it was like, you're like having to shoot specific spots, and yes, you had to do that in Flare Pool as well. But I think the overall reason why I liked the mines more than the Flare Pool, again, it's still in the bottom realm, but that survival horror element that was thrown in there, because those dudes that like come out of the ground and everything eat your health fast. Like that's gonna suck playing that in hard mode. Like it's gonna be like the sequence when the power goes out in Prime 1 and you have to go back through everything and you can't see everybody.
I was gonna say it's more like the sequence in Prime 1 the first time you go through the Phazon mines. And there is not a save point for so long.
That's a way better comparison. It was very similar to that. There were save points along the way, but there was this one that that one's like that stretch was horrible. Oh my gosh!
But that does bring into another side point. Even on normal mode, your health can get just like drained in an instant if you're not careful.
Towards the end of the game for sure. And so like. And also, I only had about half of the energy tanks by that point. I didn't really have a lot of them.
I think I had around that.
Yeah, which is funny because it's like the last major area before you start needing to do the final like fetch questing to like get to the final area. Anyways, that's what I liked about it. It was very cheesy when like actually everybody survived, and it was like,
hey Samus, and you're like, wait a minute,
it's like,
what was all that
you
for?
Like, You got like stuck in rocks. Like I don't. This doesn't make any sense at all. But okay.
You super died.
Which is yeah. Which makes the end game all the more interesting, actually, in that regard. The big thing we have avoided to talk about up to this point, obviously, we kept saying we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Even though we've name dropped it like 5 times.
Yes. So all 5 of these areas that we've just talked about that are a part of the main game are connected, as the trailer says, by Soul Valley, which is this giant, vast, open zone area, open world, open. I don't even like open world because it's one area. It's not really an open world.
It is vast. It is vast. That's the problem.
Where should we start with Soul Valley?
I think we start with
when we first get out there. How about that?
Start with when we first get out there, because they don't drop you into the middle of it. To first get out there, you take a cannon out of Fury Green.
Nope, you take a cannon. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. You take the cannon that you're shot down onto Soul Valley.
Right. When you first get out there, you take a cannon out of Fury Green, which malfunctions and basically just drops you right outside of Vault Forge. Mm-hmm. Which, like, you're not going to go wander into the rest of Soul Valley. You're going to go to Vault Forge.
Yeah.
But after you get outside of there, you get out and you have the Viola.
Yes.
And now from the second trailer of this game, this is I think it's the second
the third trailer.
The third trailer that introduces the Viola.
Yeah.
You get the idea is this is what you'll use to traverse this vast landscape to get between the different areas.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So
it does do that.
It sure gets you from one place to another. And the other thing is, while you're out there, there are the green crystals. And going into the game, I actually knew you do need to get like 80% of those to be able to like beat the game.
Right.
And due to my nature of like how I played the latest Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and you're just easily distracted. I'm easily distracted even by just the small little crystals, and so I would go after it.
No, I would too. I think and again, you said like Soul Valley is not empty. There's the green crystals, but there's also these little shrines around while we're talking about Zelda.
Right.
So
like
it's
6
like
of them, but...
yeah, and there's pieces of like Galactic Federation debris around, which usually have a mech part or they have like an upgrade, like a missile tank there. So there's not nothing to do, but there's not a lot to do. And frankly, while you're driving around it, this starts getting into a point that I want to make about Soul Valley and the game's level design at large, which is that the game is kind of in conflict with itself about what it wants you to do and how long it wants you to spend in any given area. Because it's like, some of the consensus I've seen online is that Soul Valley is basically a glorified loading screen.
I don't know if I would go that far. There's stuff to do in there.
I wouldn't go that far, but I do get the sentiment. Because while you're there, which again, the game doesn't make clear until the very end of the game, that you need those green crystals.
It does tell you while you're in Fury Green, but you're also not actively looking for them. And then you don't come across any more until after you've exited Vault Forge. So you go across a whole nother section before you finally get the bike and go out there, and then you have access to get more green crystals.
Well, the other thing is, you can tell this by seeing like the quantity of crystals that you get.
Yeah.
But the individual like piles of green crystals just around do not get you a lot.
Yeah.
What gets you a lot is the big boulders, which you can't break until the end of the game.
Yes, until the final stretch when you get the last upgrade, which is the
power bombs.
Well, it's not the last upgrade. The last upgrade you get is the ones you get after you get 80% of the crystals, which is the upgrade, the final suit.
Yeah,
but,
but you get the power bombs. Excuse me, the psychic power bombs.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but you get these, and these are used to break open these boulders that are around Soul Valley, which give you like way too many crystals in each one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so basically, if you hit all the boulders, you have your requirement. Maybe not exactly, but you get close.
You get like 30% just from those.
You get the ball. Like
you get a pretty good chunk.
You get a pretty sizable chunk from those.
And I'm talking 30% of all the crystals in the entire game.
Yeah, which is 60% of the requirement to beat the game. Because you can fill that meter up again.
Well, yes. No, I know, but on that second time, it's way easier to fill it up the last bit. Especially once you get the thing that allows you to track the last ones. That does help a lot. But for most of the game, when you're just trying to drive around, I just got distracted a bunch of times, like trying to get those things. Here's my bigger problem with just Soul Valley, is how it does connect to all the worlds. So first of all, when you get out of Vault Forge with the bike, Miles gives you a command to say, all right, have fun, like go explore.
Yeah.
Go
explore Hyrule, Soul Valley.
And here's the deal. I jumped out and immediately something felt off when he said that. Because I was like, there's no way I could just go to any of the places and be able to progress things. I feel like there has to be a specific spot. And I just so happened to think, well, the closest place to Vault Forge that I can see is actually the volcano. I like volcanoes. I'm going to see what that's about. Okay. That was totally safe. And so I went over there and then just happened to trigger all the right events to move to the next thing.
I had the opposite experience.
So explain that.
So I looked at the map and said, the game probably wants me to go somewhere close by. So I'm going to go to Great Mines. Because that's the opposite point of the map.
Yeah, the other side of it.
And immediately when you get there, what you're met with is you can't do anything here because you need the Psychic Spider Ball to do anything here.
You need the Spider Ball. They call it Psychic because it's cool.
It does have the extra effect, but it's not.
A little bit.
Yeah, but
it does the same thing
it's the Spider Ball. Yeah. So then I thought, okay, between the ice area and the volcano.
Yep.
I thought the ice mountain looked cool. So I'm gonna go there. And when you get there, you can get a little bit further.
You can get like kind of in there until the bright part. I think you get in there up to the part just before you can like take that thing that actually takes you to the area, right?
No, you can take the shuttle. You can't get further than that because I think you need the boost ball. No, you need the fire shot because it's blocked by an ice wall. So you need the fire shot to get through that, and so you can explore there a tiny amount, and then I'm like, okay, can't do anything here either. And then I step out back into Soul Valley, already thinking, I guess I gotta go to the volcano because it's the only other area.
Yeah.
And then who beeps into my visor, but Miles,
and he says, "Hey. You should check. Have you checked out the volcano yet?" After telling you like 15 minutes before,
I could go anywhere.
Just start exploring. Just check things out. See what you can do.
What that sounds like is that's a holdover from when this truly was open world.
Yes.
When you really, and that line just didn't get re-recorded.
So do you have any of the notes from that interview? That
I did read the interview prior. I don't have the notes.
The exact things that were said.
I believe what was said was the taste, like people's tastes in open world had changed.
Yes.
During the development of this. And that they also discovered the flow of a Metroid game doesn't really play nice with the concept of an open world.
Well, yeah, and what it sounded like to me when they were saying it was actually they knew that going in, but they're like, well, open world's the big thing, so we gotta implement it. Like, that's what it kind of read as, and it was like...
And then, once they figured out, oh, Metroid doesn't work with this, and people's tastes on open world have changed, it was too late to reset development again.
Yeah, like a second time.
So it's like, this is the game, we gotta do it.
Well, and I think like them getting rid of Soul Valley, yeah, because they could have cut Soul Valley, but it would have made the game like 5 hours shorter. I don't know. It took me about 25 hours to beat the game, even though my timer thing at the end said it took me 16 hours to beat.
Had I known what Soul Valley was, I don't think I would have been that mad.
Right.
if that was cut from the game completely.
Well,
But
yeah, I don't think we would have necessarily noticed the difference.
Yeah.
I think we've just been like, this is a really polished experience.
But
But then that leads to the next problem with Soul Valley, right? So first of all, you get the chip.
yeah,
And now, guess what you have to do? You have to go back to Fury Green. Now, the first time you do this, I actually don't think it's that bad. Because it actually, the second time you go back through Fury Green, it actually requires you to walk through all the stuff. And so this is your second time going through some of the things. And you actually are able to find a pretty good number of upgrades.
right.
While you're repassing through everything
That's
to
not
get
that-
back to Miles.
yeah,
Which
that's
isn't
not-
that bad.
No.
And then you give Miles the fire chip, which then he unlocks the thing in your missile, or your arm cannon, to give the official upgrade there,
Right.
which was fine the first time. But the same thing happens with the ice
shot?
chip, the electric chip, and the end
transport
game,
chip.
the transport chip. And all three times after the fire chip, it was like, wait a
Do I
minute.
really have to go do this again?
Like, Samus gets those abilities, like the firearm cannon, the ice one, the electric one. Those are by the way, are all from Prime 1, but they're just
Right.
under different names.
The wave beam, the ice beam, and the
and the
plasma
order's a little different in how they work. But like, still, it was like, okay, like that's just, you just got them right as
We're
you
doing
got
this
it,
again?
and now we're having to like backtrack to Fury Green every time we do this, which then requires you to go through the same cutscene. Now, again, it didn't. When I was playing through the game, it didn't bother me. I wasn't thinking about it too much. I was more like, yes, I got a fire chip. All right, let's go back. It
Yeah.
was more of an excitement thing, but
I think it's also, there is an inbuilt reason in the lore why Samus can pick anything up from any race and have it immediately be integrated and work.
is it really? What is the?
I think it's just that's the Chozo design. They designed the power suit to be like modular.
You know what? I bet you it didn't work this time, at least in this case, because psychic.
Either because psychic or because
Well, actually,
we're in
no.
a different dimension where the Chozo aren't here.
Well, maybe not necessarily, actually, because she gets the psychic visor. None of those arm cannon upgrades are psychic abilities.
No, they're not.
So actually, never mind. That doesn't work at all.
The only thing I could think is we're in a different dimension. So
But that, again, I still don't think that
yeah,
really
still,
works.
that still doesn't really work.
Unless it's like Miles is modifying the chip to be able to. I don't know.
It's weird.
It's kind of silly.
It's
but
kind
then
of dumb.
But then that leads to the third issue. So first is just it's empty, right? Like it's like all you're really doing is getting the crystals, which there's a lot to get, and it's kind of a lot to do. Again, me on my first playthrough, it was fine, and I was like, my mind was already at, I know I have to do this, so I'm just gonna go for it, and just like try and get as many of them as I come across them. But like I see myself on later playthroughs, it's not gonna, like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I don't think I'm gonna 100% this game.
You're not
again.
gonna bother with that.
I'm not gonna 100% this game again. I'm gonna get what I need and then be done. But anyways, first issue is the emptiness of it. Second issue is the fact that you have to keep crossing over it as a filler thing to like keep going back to Fury Green to get the chips, which is a little dumb. And then the third issue that really is the overarching problem here, and what actually brings up the big question of whether or not Metroid Prime 4 really is a Metroid game, is that it feels very linear. There's not a lot of, there's hardly any true interconnectivity of this world.
This was the thing I wanted to talk about a lot,
Yeah.
which I know we're over an hour in already.
Yeah. We might have to shorten this
Yeah.
piece of it. It's important.
I'll do my best. This game reminded me a lot, specifically the map of Metroid Prime 2.
Yep.
Because you have the central area with all the different offshoots. You have to go to the offshoot and then come back for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
In Prime 2, it's because you need to make... It's something with the planet Aether's energy. You also have to come back because that's the only way to get to the next area.
Mm-hmm.
And in Prime 4, it's because, again, that's the only way through. But Prime 2 has the benefit of the world opening gradually. So initially, you are kind of just going back and forth, but then you get items that allow you to open the shortcuts to the other elevators.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't have to go back to Temple Grounds. You can just go straight from Aegon to Torvis, or Torvis to the Sanctuary. And Prime 4, I kind of expected that, especially because there's areas that are truly connected. For instance, you can, like, Vault Forge has a system for distributing violas. Why can't we utilize that to get straight from one to another? Ice Belt, the moment you walk in, or the moment you get into the area proper, to the big field, what do you see on the side? You see the transport.
That like looks like it also takes you to another place.
Right. You see like the line of the cryopons.
Which in that case looks like it could take you to Fury Green. Yeah.
So there's little ways here and there where I think you could write in this interconnectivity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's part of the original plan, and that never happened. But what happens at the end of the game is there is no interconnectivity. Every place you want to go, you have to go back through Soul Valley. And every area is, like you mentioned it feeling linear, all the areas are.
Yes. It's one way in, one way out for every area. Yeah. Plus, like, Fury Green. Yeah, Fury Green has the cannon that shoots you to base, and every area, like, does have a thing somewhere in the level that will shoot you to the backside of the level, but nothing that, like, if you want to go somewhere in the middle, you have to tread your way through the whole thing.
Both Vault Forge and the Ice Belt have the little elevators. Because they're vertically designed.
Yes, exactly. Both of those are vertically... Well, and so is the Great Mines, too.
Yeah.
Because it has the elevator that breaks initially, but then you can actually use it properly later.
And then the other thing that leads into, for me, is... You mentioned that it feels linear. Metroid games are. Like, you get the items with a handful of exceptions. Like, I think Dread and Super Metroid are exceptions to this. But
Prime 1.
And Prime 1. With a handful of exceptions, you get the items in more or less the same order.
Like, it's not so much that you get in the same order, but you always, I feel like, get to a point where you have to go to a place.
There is a place you have to go to progress. There is an order of events to hit to progress.
Yes.
But it never feels linear. Because the world is so interconnected, you kind of have to make your own route from one place to another. You have to think about, the example I thought of is, like, if in Prime 1, you have to go to, like, Chozo Ruins. Mm-hmm. You're in Magmore Caverns. There is an elevator between those two directly, but you could go, like, oh, but if I go through Talon 4, I have items. I have new items that could find me, like, power-ups in Talon 4. And as you're playing, your mind kind of notes these little areas of, like, oh, there's an item there, but I don't have a thing for that yet.
Yes.
And other Metroid games literally let you pin the map, which Prime 4 does.
But, like... Yeah. But the backtracking in Prime 4 really doesn't happen properly.
That's what I'm getting at. Like,
until, like, the last stretch of the game when you're trying to find the last of the remaining items, right?
Like, there is, to a degree, some linearity in every Metroid game. Mm. It never feels like it, because the world is built in such a way where even if you backtrack or you go the wrong way, you still get something out of it.
Yeah. In every area you go to in a Metroid game, maybe not a Metroidvania, because I think there's also... I think Hollow Knight kind of took things to a whole new standard with, like, what Metroidvanias can be, because there's like... places you, quote, have to go to in Hollow Knight, but then there's a lot of optional areas that you get rewarded to go that way if you do, but also it's not that. I think that's another thing, is that some people, like, compare it a lot to 2D Metroidvanias, and it's like, other than Prime 1, what is another, like, 3D, like, a true 3D Metroidvania that, like, actually feels all interconnected? I know there's Prime 2.
I mean, when you're talking about Metroid, you're just talking Metroid.
I know.
We've taken the Vania out of it.
I know. Well, and that's the other thing, too, is that there is also just this weird standard. But anyways, even then, people still say it's not Metroid. And I'm like, I don't know. I think you still are getting the upgrades and all that stuff. But I do understand that, the world should be... this world should be a lot more interconnected than it is.
I think what hit it for me, for Prime 4 specifically, is backtracking in Prime 4, or, like, not backtracking or going the wrong way, feels punishing.
Well, because
Like,
it's straight up a waste of time, and you're like, well, I
yeah.
immediately
in
am stopped.
in other Metroid, you go out of the way, you go somewhere wrong, you still end up hitting like, oh, a missile tank. Like,
Yeah,
like,
something
still-
rewards you. Yeah.
something rewards you. And Prime 4, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think that happens once,
Because
if at all,
yeah, it's just
until the end of the game.
And this is also why when I was writing these notes, I had a point in here about Prime 4's hint system and how overzealous it is. Miles calling you way too much, calling you repeatedly, opening your map automatically to mark stuff on it. But I realized, thinking about it, you kind of have to have this in a game that's designed this way. Because otherwise, you just have the player potentially hitting dead end after dead end.
Yeah.
And it's not rewarding.
Right.
So they kind of have to give you a hint system that tells you where to go, because otherwise you're just getting frustrated with no reward.
Sure. When you start accepting the game more for what it is rather than what it isn't, it paints the game in a little bit more of a positive light overall. And what I think doesn't really help is, and this is genuinely Nintendo's fault, outside of the development of Prime 4, they never re-released Primes 2 and 3 to any capacity. They only re-released Prime 1. Prime 1 is phenomenal. I think, and everybody who played Prime Remastered can attest to that. Yeah, it is an incredible game. It also set it for people who maybe only have like a Switch and maybe a 3DS or something. That's the standard that they're going off of. But I think we as Metroid fans for all time, it's like, or mostly all time. Like, I played all the mainline games outside of Other M. That's the only one I haven't played. Thank goodness. I
have played Other M. You don't have to.
Yeah. But Prime 1 is the most Metroidvania, so to speak, of all of that, or like the most Metroid as far as this crazy big interconnected map. You never really know for sure which way you're going. Because starting even in Prime 2, yes, there is interconnectivity towards the back half of the game. But that first half of the game, you really are going linearly through that game. Yeah. There's not a lot of choice in going to other places. Yeah. And then Prime 3 goes really far with that. Yes, there are multiple entry points that you can find for your ship to land on each planet, but it's still like a corridor kind of thing where you're there's not branching paths on each planet not necessarily anyways. And that and really I actually think Prime 4 is a much better mix of, I think it's running, right?
It is. I got paranoid. Okay.
But yeah, I think it takes actually a lot more inspiration from 2 and 3 than 1. 1 has moments where it's like the vibes of 1. Like I said, Fury Green, when you're first there, and that opening, that first entire section, and even the opening of the game, feels very Prime 1-esque.
It feels like Talon Overworld.
Yes, and it feels like Talon Overworld, literally in the sense of like the environment, but also just in the music, the way you're just like slowly walking through it. Even once Miles shows up, there's still this sense of discovery and like trying to find your way through things. That, in my opinion, continues into when you're initially in Soul Valley without the bike and you're walking around trying to figure that out, and then you go to Vault Forge where you start getting more amped up stuff, because that draws a lot of parallels to Magmore Caverns, where like it's much more of a march and you're like kind of like a mission going through this thing, and that's what I felt like in Vault Forge. So very Prime 1 in the early stages of the game. But then as it's the world map thing you talked about, where Soul Valley's the hub and you go to the other places from there, that's very Prime 2. And then the ultimate design of each of the 5 areas in the game is very linear, like Prime 3. Where, yes, there might, in some cases, there are multiple ways to, not multiple entry points, but there are different ways to fast travel, so to speak, to different locations within each place, but you have to already be in there going into the same place. So it actually is a mix of all 3, and I think people were going off the standard of Prime 1 and being this completely open-ended thing, and it led to disappointment with this game and everybody being like, well, it's not Metroid. And it's like, even 2D Metroid's not like immune to this y'all play Fusion, right?
Fusion
like
is extremely
Fusion's
linear.
Fusion is the linear 2D game.
And I think that gets into the topic of how much is this, because I have the question in here of just like, is this a Metroid game?
I mean, it's a Metroid game.
I mean,
a Metroidvania.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't know,
because it's like it is a good like it is in the Metroid franchise.
It has the characters. It has the Federation.
Like,
it has Samus. It has the Metroids, even if they are super briefly in there.
It has all the items you expect. It hits all the notes.
It hits all the notes to at least make it feel like gameplay wise. I'm still like it feels like Metroid. Maybe not in like the exploration aspect. It's quite the same. But that doesn't take away from it because there are Metroid games like that are more linear than others.
Yeah, because I think even like. You look at Metroid Fusion, and it's still like this. It's not Super Metroid. It's because Super Metroid is. You were talking earlier about a game that's just like you're never sure if you're on the right path. You're always kind of going weird, different places. Mm-hmm. Super Metroid's very like that.
Yeah,
but Metroid is capable of taking on other tones.
Yeah, and going for different vibes for a purpose, which I think...
Like Fusion and Dread being much more like kind of like space horror almost. Mm-hmm. Metroid is absolutely capable of hitting different beats and different themes and different tones. I think the question that I'm running into is, does the tone that Prime 4 establishes fit well with that? Because
I think it's inconsistent overall.
Yeah.
It has its, I think a lot of people pointed this out, it has its moments of greatness.
It does.
Like when you're in, again, those first three areas of first going through Fury Green, Vault Forge, and then to me especially Ice Belt. Ice Belt was like, this is like the most Metroid-y Metroid part of this game. Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I think this is my opinion coming off of it immediately, like the night that I beat it. Mm-hmm. I thought this is a game that has really high highs. Like when the game gets good, it gets really good. Mm-hmm. And it hits the tone Metroid, like it hits a Metroid type tone really well. It hits either like the horror tone that's been done before with Ice Belt, or it hits like being in this alien world that like you've never seen anything like this before kind of tone. Vault Forge gets a little bit like that. The puzzles are interesting and fun, and it's just like you're just exploring this new landscape. Like I think at the beginning of the game, you hit all of that. Mm-hmm. And at this point, you're not really worried about, is the game going to be interconnected? You're not worried as much about like, wait, how much time am I spending in Soul Valley? Because by the time you get to Ice Belt, you've barely gone there.
Right.
So it's like, the opening of this game is really strong. Or like the first third of the first half.
The first half is,
is really strong. And then after that, the tone just falters.
Well, yeah, because then they start more consistently having the troopers there. Again, you have Sarge come into the picture, which I know a lot of people are most positive about him. To me, I thought he was actually the one that him and Armstrong were the ones I thought were a little bit more weaker. Again, brought new flavor to the troopers and everything.
It's different.
It's just that I could tell, because he was a little bit more commandy with like Miles was like, hey, maybe you should try this. Like, have you thought about this? Maybe you should try this. But Sarge was like, do this. I'm like, don't directly tell me what to do. I will, like, give me, like, if you're like, hey, if you want to, hey, just like check this out. That's what Miles gave me the vibe of. Sarge was just like, do it. And I was like, no, I am gonna go off and explore this one thing that's probably gonna be pointless, but I'm gonna do it anyways because it's a Metroid game and I want to. I have
to scan these 30 different individual types of crates,
even though they do not log anything in the entry in the logbook. From that, that's I don't know. And so that kind of there's a little bit of tonal whiplash there. It not like whiplash necessarily. I just think it does feel like you're playing a slightly different game when you're in Soul Valley compared to literally everything else, which we didn't even talk about the shrines, by the way. Shrines are cool.
There's 6 of them.
There's 6 of them.
They're fine.
They're fine. They got the little extra upgrades for some of the weapons.
Yeah.
The electric one though is broken once you get that fully powered.
100%.
Oh my gosh, that's why they give it to you last in this game. It's like the plasma beam in Prime 1 basically.
Yeah. The flamethrower.
Yeah.
No.
You know what? And also late game. Actually, I don't know if I want to say this because I didn't like it in Prime 1. Towards the end of Prime 1, especially once you get to the Phazon Mines, there are certain space pirates and Metroids that can only be taken down by certain beams.
Yeah.
And I do think this game would have actually benefited a little bit from that if like the different versions of those little big dudes like
different versions
had
of
different colors or
graders.
something, and you could tell like, hey, this one's purple, shoot it with the, or sorry, not purple,
This one's blue. Shoot it with the ice beam. Like
shoot because I was gonna say it's white, but then like most of them are white.
or rock
this
paper
one's
scissors.
blue.
Like this one's red. Hit it with the ice beam.
Exactly. Yeah, that would have kind of helped with the variety a little bit more.
Speaking of the beams, real quick.
Yeah.
This was another Prime 2 comparison that I had.
The limited ammo.
Yeah, and I like how it's done in this game.
Oh, I like how it's all combined. That's way better than like.
Well, it's all combined, and it replaces your missile option. Instead of it replacing your beam completely, it's the missile.
Which I thought that was pretty smart.
That having all the beams have one ammo, being able to replenish it through one upgrade instead of having to shoot it with the opposite type to get the one you want.
Yeah, because then like, what happens if you run out of that item?
That
was the other reason I hated that game.
There is you can still fire a regular shot, but you have to charge it. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, sorry.
All that to say, I like the beam ammo system in this. I think
and really that's to say there are good design choices that were like quality of life things that are good, but then there's just other things that are just like, you could tell Retro was running out of time. They were like, they were like already committed to this, and we can't
redo this
fix
again.
this. We can't fix this because if we did, it would require basically starting over again.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the other thing that was in that interview is that Nintendo did build up Retro back up, that is, to where now they were not ready when they received Prime 4 back at the beginning of 2019 when the game was reassigned to them. They're now technically built in such a way where if this game sells well, they could actually make a full trilogy out of this. Which brings us to the Endgame. So this is the last thing we're going to talk about. I'm getting tired.
90 minutes in.
Yeah, we're finally going to talk about the Endgame here of Prime 4. So it's just like, this is Megaton nuclear spoilers here. But the one big final thing outside the crystals that you have to collect before the Endgame are the different things for Betsy. Which, by the way, did you think of Cars when he said Betsy?
No, I thought of Wally.
Wally? What was Betsy and Wally?
Well, this like the name being like letters and numbers.
Oh, well, I thought of Betsy because Betsy is the not the paving machine thing in the first Cars.
I didn't remember
where
that.
it's like, oh, I'm having a date with Betsy, the whole thing.
No, I didn't think of that. I just thought of like,
I'm talking to Betsy. That's what he said. No, I'm dating Betsy.
I just thought of like when you give a robot like a cutesy name like that.
I thought of it as Cars. That's what I first thought about.
But yeah, you have to get the mech parts for this giant golem mech.
Yes, and that's the thing that's actually going to break the barrier, which I do think is kind of weird they didn't give that tool to you sooner, so you could like, because this is kind of the fetch quest thing. This is the other thing people sometimes say like, this fetch quest is so stupid to get the crystals and all that stuff. I'm like, dude, it is at the end of literally.
It's in every game.
It's in every Prime game.
This is the artifacts. This is the Sky Temple keys. This is the energy cells.
Yes.
Like,
it's the same thing.
This has been here before. We've been down this road.
If anything, it's easier because it most of them are just in Soul Valley, so it really doesn't take that long to get them.
Yeah.
Anyways, you break the barrier with the giant Betsy thing.
You all go up Chrono Tower. You have all the keys. You're just like activating stuff with your mind, and everyone else is just going, "Whoa!" Like Neo.
Well, Well, it is kind of cool. It is kind of a weird thing because you're actually going through the stuff that you encountered at the very beginning of the game when you're first transported to the planet. But now everybody else is exploring it, which again is kind of like when you first encounter Miles and you find him and he's kind of like going whoa after you just went whoa. So it's I don't know. That's another reason why I kind of like Miles because like this is a weird planet. Like I would react like this. This is how a regular. I already was reacting like this when I was going through it.
Yeah. When you get to the top of the tower, you start setting up the master teleporter. You put all the keys in there.
That spider chain thing was kind of crazy. How you had to go like cool. way up there.
Yeah.
And then,
you start doing all this stuff, and then as Sylux appears.
Yes. So throughout the game, there were 2 other appearances of Sylux, but both times he was a clone. Actually, 3 times. Twice in the mines, but then another time when you're in Flare Pool and he's in the ship. That like is trying to shoot you and blow you up and all that stuff, and he jumps out last minute.
Yeah.
But only in the last time you encounter him is his real voice there, and he starts talking. Dude. Okay, here's the deal. I don't like that he wasn't actually present throughout the game more. Yeah. I know that's very similar to Metroid Prime 3, because in Prime 2 and 3, Dark Samus is the main villain, but Dark Samus reoccurs and is actually Dark Samus in Prime 2. Prime 3, she doesn't show up. She's like at the very beginning to wreak havoc and causes all this bad things that happen, but then you don't ever fight her until the final boss. She is the final boss. Yeah. And this is Sylux in that same way. You get a little bit of backstory, which, if you 100% the game and get all the scans, I think you get an extra cutscene.
An extra cutscene that explains
that has a much longer, in-depth cutscene of like who was Sylux like when he was part of the Federation. I wish that full cutscene was just in the game at some point, and not like something you find out. You don't find out till the very end, and it's a cut down version. It's not the full thing. I thought that was a little weird. But anyways. You start the fight with Sylux. What'd you think of the fight?
I really liked it because you have all 5 of the people with you. It's a little bit stressful if multiple of them go down at once.
Yes, that happened. Happened a little too many times, and I think the only time I lost in the fight was in that first phase when they all got when one of them died. Was annoying.
If like 3 people go down at once, you're done.
I think only 2 people went down maximum, but still, it was trying to find them, and like the coloring at that point, it kept blending in. Like the white of most of their uniforms was clashing with like the peachish, like pale look of the tower, and you're also probably using the electrical shock because it's the most broken item like that you're using in that final boss.
I did think it was appropriately hard for like a final boss.
Yeah.
But then you get through that first phase,
and then the second phase is you going through like this time vortex thing, and you're like shooting on this on-rail shooter thing.
The second phase is you going through the Doctor Who intro. It's like,
yeah, that's exactly.
And then you end up in like the middle of like nowhere.
Yeah, and just like somewhere in like a dark matter, space and time kind of weird place, fighting Sylux one-on-one. That fight was good.
That fight's awesome.
That's pretty epic. It was very exciting. The part where you have to turn into the morph ball and he rams into you and steals an energy tank, and if you don't grab it in time, it's permanently gone. That was nuts. That was like, whoa. Like, that was crazy.
That was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of Tears of the Kingdom when you're fighting Ganondorf. Spoilers for that game. But at the last phase of that, if he hits you at all, it just takes a heart away permanently, and then you can't heal it. Like, dude, that's just it was so crazy.
So, fight's awesome. You end the fight. You go back to
win. Right, yes, after a couple of attempts.
You win, and then you get this last like. This is a part of the last trailer that I made fun of really hard.
Because it was almost too obvious.
Well, in the last trailer, I didn't know exactly what would happen, but I was confident. I told you they're not getting off this planet. because the last trailer has Armstrong and I think someone else being like, we're gonna go home and see our family.
Yeah, like I hope after this, like we can still become a team, blah blah blah, all this stuff.
There's so much like after this, once we go home, and I knew immediately these people are dying.
So, and that's the interesting part. So they're getting the transport thing. It starts to fully operate, and as it's going, boom, Sylux actually teleports. So he has some kind of crazy teleportation power.
Yeah.
Where you can't, if you just knock him into a void, he's just going to come back.
Well, we knew that when we went into the void the first time.
I know, but it was also like, you knocked him off and he disappears. And I remember he was like, we got him! And then like, dot, he's going to come back. And like, that's not the... quite it. That'd be quite an
as soon as I started hearing Armstrong saying we're gonna go back and see our family, I was like, oh, he's coming back.
Yeah,
we're not done.
So he busts through, and then all of the people are like trying to bust through, like trying to stop him, like wear him down. You have the robot like on his back, and then like army guys on there along with Armstrong, and then
this is where we start diving into like the weird ending.
I don't know if it was weird. It's just it kind of had a cliffhanger.
Yeah, the last. So I do have a question. Did you game over here when it prompts you to activate the teleporter? You can. If you wait too long to activate the teleporter, it does game over, and it does send you back to the second phase of Sylux's fight.
No way. Because I did not know that.
Yeah, you can wait too long.
That's crazy. Well, I looked and I was like, I think I have no choice. I think I just have to, like, because I was trying to pull my arm cannon out. I was trying to do something. I'm like, there has to be some, like, stun.
I tried that too to see if I wait too long, does, like, another cutscene happen where somebody breaks out? Does Sylux break out and I have to fight him again? But no, they actually, if you wait it out, it actually will just game over you.
What happens when it game overs? Does Sylux, like, shoot you? Does it?
I think either he shoots you or he kills them.
Oh, well, interesting.
But it's like, because I haven't seen the game over, I just know when it...
Oh, I thought you said you waited, though, to see...
I didn't see it on me, I saw it on a video. I know it will happen, I didn't see it for me.
Okay.
But it's the prompt you get when you game over is it just says, like, you failed to activate the master teleporter in time. Which I don't know why you can only activate this thing once.
Well, I think it was just...
I think Sylux shoots you.
I think Sylux shoots you. Yeah. I think that's what it has to be. I think maybe he charges after you, and it's like it's.
I don't know. It's. I think it's also the impression of like why, after like a fight where you shoot him down and the beginning of the game where you in a single charge beam shot like knock him on his back, like why can you not just like save these people and then activate the teleporter? Like, what? It's just this kind of like, it feels forced, I guess, to just be like, all these people are like go on without us, but it's like it doesn't feel like there's a time limit.
I don't know. I actually did feel like, because I was thinking, well, they already were getting knocked down by Sylux, so if they're the ones holding him down. And also, it was a more dilemma thing of like, actually, yeah, Samus being the one that should be the one to leave makes the most sense, because if she doesn't, because the universe, the galaxy and the universe, whatever, would benefit the most from her leaving than all those other people combined.
Right.
I thought that was interesting. And then you get to see all the faces of everybody one more time. They all take their hair out, like they all like
take their mask off, basically,
just really quickly to like be like, Samus, just go.
I get
it's okay. And I bought into that. I was like, dang, that's kind of tough.
I do get it. I get why it's the way it is. It did leave me wondering, like, did we have to do that? Like,
yeah.
Because it felt like there could have been like another option available.
Yeah.
But no, I get that for like, because it leads into the theme of the game also of like mourning and moving on and stuff like that.
Is that really a theme in the game? It's only like a theme in like the latter end of the game.
I mean, the alien race you're working to preserve the memory of is called the
yes,
the Lamorn.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I thought the ending was good. And did you actually look up
the full cutscene?
The post credit?
I did, because I was not gonna starve myself of that for missing 3 scans.
Yes, yeah. So you do actually get to see Samus's face, which gorgeous, by the way. It was like I was like, this is like the first time we're seeing like a face of a Nintendo character in like crazy high, like 4K HDR. Like, yes, we've seen Donkey Kong and the Mario characters and all that in that way, but they're more cartoony.
But not like a realistic.
This is like a realistic human. This is one of the few realistic humans Nintendo actually has. And we got to see that, and I don't know. Even if it was just her face, it was like, wow. I don't just like look at how far we've come. You know what I mean? Like in the just technology with how she looks. So what? Let's just phrase it like this. What would you score this game, and like what would you like Retro to improve if we do in fact get Prime 5?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay.
I think it's closer to a 9 than a 7, but
so an 8.5.
8.5, something like that, because it's like this is a very fun game to play through. Like I said, controls feel great. The game has some really high highs, some really great moments. I don't dislike the Federation troopers just on principle. I think some of them are effective. Some of them you do kind of like really side with and grow to like. But it's not just that like the interconnectivity or the level design is a problem. It's that these are fundamental issues that like just from the design phase.
Yeah. That like were holdovers from the Bandai Namco version of the game. Yeah. That's like Retro's like, actually you have to like, or Nintendo's like, actually you still have to use this stuff, Retro.
Yeah, you like to still try and make this open world, and then eventually getting the version that we got, it just doesn't feel polished. And it doesn't even feel like it's what the developers wanted. It's just the best version of what we had.
Pretty much.
And so I think for that, I'm not going to give it a 9, I'm going to give it an 8. Because I just think there's fundamental design issues with the way the game is laid out.
Yeah.
But playing through it, I still had fun.
I'm going to give it... Metroid Prime 4 is a flawed game. It is a flawed 9 out of 10. I really... The highs truly hit. Like I ride those highs.
For sure.
And because I am a fan of games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where you're kind of riding around and you're just kind of opening, like, even though that Soul Valley is kind of vast and empty overall, there was something about, again, I had the Amiibo so I could listen to the music while driving around, and there was something about doing that actually was like, that was kind of fun and enjoyable, and a break from the action almost. I personally actually didn't feel like the immersion completely broken. I know how at moments it kind of feels like that, because it feels like you're playing a different game, but I didn't feel like my immersion was broken because I was still like, I was doing something different. Break from the action, from the main stuff that was going on. Again, I overall like all the Federation troopers. I'm a little harsh on Sarge specifically, Sergeant Duke, but it's not necessarily bad. I just think that implementation of him of just truly being forceful with like, you need to do this, that was when it was a problem. It didn't bother me as much with somebody like Miles, where he was like, hey, maybe you should check this out. Like, just as more like as a suggestion, like just in case if you missed this, hey, like check this out.
Yeah.
I like that more than just do this. I'm like, because then that really breaks the immersion for me. Most of the areas were great. Ice Belt's the big highlight for me.
It's for me too.
Yeah, that was the best. I think that was the best section of the game, which is like which is basically before the halfway point, approximately. But what I think they should do, kind of going into Prime 5, now that it just seems like they have the team built and they can actually do this properly, I think what would help a lot is for I don't know. I'm trying to articulate this right. Look at Prime 1, because there was a deeper purpose for them to remaster the first game, because they were trying to figure out, okay, what is Metroid really? I do think to please as many of the fans as possible, let's go back to that. Let's make Prime 5 as close to the original on a structural, like, world building level as possible, while still making it, you know, a little more maybe linear in some cases, but
there are ways to do both.
there are ways to do both and make it right and make it like fit the best. I think the biggest thing that could help a lot is when you're going back and revisiting areas you've been to before, maybe you're revisiting the same environment but a new section of that environment.
Yeah.
That was a big thing that was completely absent from this game, where every time you go to one of the main areas, you've already explored it.
Right.
And you've explored all the things, and all you're going back there for is just the upgrades.
Right. Like, backtracking and going out of the way should not be something that you feel punished for.
It should feel a lot more organic and more rewarding, or built into the story of like, hey, this world was actually bigger than this area specifically was actually bigger than you thought it was. It was like that for every area in Prime 4. Or Prime 1, sorry. I don't know that they did that as much in 2 and 3. They kind of did a little bit, but again, like 2, that only happens in like the second half of the game where that happens.
Yeah.
And even then, it's more just to connect all 3 of the areas, but not necessarily to like, just create completely new pathways necessarily.
Right. It's
that like lead to like brand new upgrades and all this stuff. It's more just to make the world flow a little bit better. And then 3 was just like, well, you have different entry points for each of the planets. Right. And now we've gone all the way to just, well, it's a linear path for each and every one.
And I think,
yeah,
and I think you have to backtrack from there, because it's the, like, Metroid games are, again, to a degree, linear on paper.
Yeah.
You go here, go here, go here.
Like, once you know the game, though.
Yeah, but on a first run, it should not feel like that. You should feel lost.
Yeah.
That's part of the charm.
Which doesn't really happen in this game. Not quite. I mean, kind of. At times it does. Like, after you've exited one of the areas and you're going back out to Soul Valley, there is a little bit of a question mark until after about 15 minutes. And then Miles says,
55.
hey, did you try taking this thing? Hey, why don't you come back to base camp? Yeah, that's not
come back to base camp, sweetheart.
Let's get you fixed up with that ice chip there. Yeah.
Go buy yourself something nice. I'm officially too tired to keep going.
Yes. But those are our thoughts on Metroid Prime 4. That was way longer of a discussion than I anticipated it being. This was more of just general thoughts. I will be coming out with a much more scripted review of just my personal thoughts with the game and a much more concise package. This was more just word vomiting our thoughts on pretty much every aspect of the game that we could think of that felt important for us to bring up. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll keep on the lookout. I won't be doing my next video will not be on Prime 4, but it will be on something else that's up and coming. That's actually coming up soon. So keep on the lookout for that. Subscribe, like this video, leave a comment on your thoughts of Prime 4, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.